5 minutes after 11 o'clock, and this is Jamster. I'm going to be sitting in for Socrates today on Voices. And today is my lucky day on the financial tip, because I managed to talk Dr. Martin into staying for a little bit on Voices to take your, to expound some more on what we've heard on the budget. Of course, there's a sitting today, so there'll obviously be more things to discuss. They haven't started yet, still haven't started yet, Terrence. So obviously there'll be more things to unpack later on this week as we hear from all of the ministers, and I still haven't heard, I don't know, I didn't get to listen much on Friday, but I still haven't heard any of the ministerial, the same thing you alluded to a while ago. Haven't heard any of the actual numbers in terms of the money.
That really is a strong signal to where the government sees the needs.
Yeah. Oh, they've started. Okay. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break here, hear it from the sponsors, and we're going to come back with Dr. Terrence Martin. And I think CJ Warner might be joining us for a bit as well. So let's get a word from our sponsors.
Hey! This Christmas is all about you. Yeah, boy. Flow brings the joy and better value. Together, imagine all we could do. Prizes and offers inspired by you.
This holiday season, get 2 Samsung A04Es for only $299 EC when you sign up for a family postpaid plan. Enjoy up to 60 gigabytes of data, unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube.
This Christmas is all about you. Telling you, boy, Flow brings the joy and better value.
Flow, connecting hearts and homes this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Merry Christmas from Rams, the good food people. Jingle bells, the owls are bright. Shopping at Rams is a true delight. Stock your pantry, spread the cheer. $50,000 of groceries for a year. Fruits and veggies, treats so sweet. Rams, the good food people can't be beat. The joy of giving with better prices in every aisle. Our team preparing. Fill your cart this holiday season and shop with Rams and win $50,000 in groceries for a year. Terms and conditions apply. See in stores for details. Happy holidays!
Are you tired of constantly having to repaint? Then it's time to level up your paint game with Harris Paints. With Quantum I-12 technology, Harris gives you better colors that last longer and takes less coats. So this Christmas, level up your savings with 15% off 1 and 5 gallons of top quality Ultima Plus available at TDC. Then, with each purchase, play the Harris mobile game for chances to win the grand prize of $3,000 cash. Now that's a level up only from Harris Paints.
We are going to move on then. Madam Speaker, the pandemic has highlighted many key issues in employment practices, such as the need for an unemployment fund, which is a beneficial safety net for individuals during periods of joblessness. In the upcoming year, the Ministry of Labour and Employment will focus on a critical issue, keeping in line with the government's overall fiscal goals. This involves considering the allocation of resources for unemployment while considering the sustainability of the fund.
Okay.
As we march forward to achieving a sustainable island state, it is imperative that we prioritize.
Well, that is terrible. I mean, we
Is
apologize.
there construction close
yes,
to the studio?
yes, it's. I think it's the judicial complex they've started
okay.
on, but it almost seems deliberate. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we just had a little. I just let you guys get a little window into today's sitting, which started with. We had Minister Marshall here talking. So that was a little bit of that. So we got. Oh, financial guru, Dr. Terrence Martin. not to be outdone by the really noisy heavy equipment next door. It's gonna be hard to outdo that.
It will definitely be
I
hard
know,
to do
I
that.
know.
It's like somebody need to go there and remind them you're next to a radio station.
I mean, this is crazy to me, you know. Okay, so let's see what we can do in the meantime. This is insane. Okay, so you and CJ Warner were talking there in the final moments of Money Matters of the fact that I think I had a discussion. I think it was you. I may have mentioned it too on the weekend. If the corporate tax rate is going from, well, it's now 20, it's been dropped to 25%. And I know most businesses have, I think it's a ceiling, or is that a floor of 8,000. If you make anything over that $8,000, then you have to start paying 2%, I think.
I think so. That's the unincorporated.
Yeah,
On the
that side.
incorporated side, I think for goods, if your focus is goods, that's your business, goods and more or less, let's say retail, then there's like a $37,500 threshold. Anything over that, so that's exempted, that first set, and then $6,500 on the services. I think that's, if my memory is serving me correctly. If you're a service provider, it's a lot less. But I think those are the benchmarks. Don't quote me.
Okay, but correct me if I'm right. If the corporate tax rate goes on, then shouldn't the non-corporate people, meaning people who aren't registered companies, shouldn't they get a break?
Well, they should, and that's why we were saying we hope it's an oversight, because they did get a break previously. I think it was in the COVID legislation. That stimulus that was done by the last administration, they reduced the tax from 4% to 2%. That's part of a bigger conversation, because they're taxed on revenues, not on profits. So at the end of that 4 to 2%, it was like, okay, yeah, but it's still significant in a sense, right? But I think further legislation need to go into, I think all this should be taxed on profits, not on revenues. Because you could make $100,000, but you lose 110, and then on top of that, I still have to go pay the government, $2,000?
Exactly.
Right? So that's a lot of money if I'm already losing. So what that encourages is people to not register, to not report. So you get zero taxes.
So the simplest route from a logical standpoint would be to say, okay, we extend the 25% decrease to, so they pay on $6,000 as opposed to $8,000.
Well, so
would that make sense?
Those thresholds, I'm not that sure of, but what we would love to see.
Oh, well, not 6,000. No, you have to go upwards.
Yeah, you have to go upwards, right?
Sorry,
so I think what we need is, and again, the problem is in the absence of a real complex tax system, the government is kind of limited in what they could do in terms of incentives in a way that's manageable, right? Because, for example, in most other countries, they usually have, say, income tax, right, on the small business side. And that's usually where you find most of the unincorporated businesses. They're smaller businesses, small to medium-term businesses. So in the absence of a taxable income, then it's really hard to pass on some incentives. Now you could extend like maybe reductions on importations and maybe extend duty-free for registered businesses up to a certain point, maybe come up with a schedule of items that now qualified for a reduced rate. You have to find some way, but what's happening now is the sunset on the reduction of the UBT, the uninsured business tax, that's gone. Right, so hopefully, like Mr. Warner suggested, hopefully it was just an oversight. They're going to maintain it or provide some additional incentives.
So probably $10,000
maybe they could increase the threshold as well. They could increase the threshold, and like he said, some of these things have not been updated in over 10 years.
Yes, and
so you should really adjust anyway for just the cost of doing business, which has gone up significantly.
And many of these things aren't even pegged to inflation. So
exactly.
you would expect,
exactly.
right? So you would expect any well-thinking fiscal minds would say, well, a lot of these things really should change and should reflect inflationary realities right now, right?
Yes, especially over a decade, right? The economy they look different in its composition. A decade ago, construction was leading in the commercial space. Now construction is leading in the residential space. We've seen new importations, new manufacturing plants come. We've seen new businesses open, and so on. So things have changed. The economy is different. And because the economy is different, especially coming out of something like COVID, then that's definitely something, that exemption. And I think in general, again, the UBT, the tax has to be changed. It should be on profits, but it shouldn't just be on revenues. That's unfair to that average individual, that business owner.
Yeah, absolutely. So callers, feel free to give us your calls. There is a sitting of the House going on now, and I'm sure our newsroom will get to covering those later on. But I got the honor of having Dr. Terrence Martin to sit in for a while on Voices. So please take advantage of the opportunity and call in and get and pick his brain. And get him to.
They can talk about anything. It's fun.
We can talk about anything. Yeah, absolutely. And we can continue to deconstruct some of the things that you may have heard last week on the budget, and that you want broken down for you in bite-sized pieces
as best as I can. Some topics are a little bit more complex, right? And it's really hard to not seem like you're a hater when you have some of these conversations, because I'm not trying to be. And that's why I really try to stress on Money Matters that, this is a budget for the low to middle income, right? The low to middle class. And we don't like to think about classes, but that's the reality. It's night and day. You see it even in the cars that are on the road. And how, you just know. We know who is the upper class. We know, right? And we know who is the consumer class. And the consumer class, this was a budget for the consumer class, because we've seen an unprecedented reduction of income. I've been an advocate for redistributing CBI funds to the average man for years. Now, would I do it differently? Yes. But I can't knock the fact that it has happened. And what it is, Jamster, it's a lot of government economic stimulus. If we saw ECLAC saying that we're expecting lower growth in the Caribbean region, so then what does that mean as a government? If you don't spend, and there's no commercial investments, there's no real expansion, and that's hence the reduction in the corporate income tax, because we feel that that's going to fuel an expansion, but actually it creates more harm than good in a sense, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But if these are economic policies to stimulate the economy and move consumption, and I don't think that consumption is that significant as a part of our GDP calculation. We need to see the numbers, right? Like, for example, in the United States, 70% of GDP, 70% of economic growth can be attributed to consumption, spending by the average person. So redistribution of incomes like this is good in that economy, right? If that's not it here, then we need to find ways to incentivize business, but we need to reclassify business as business. So those paying the unincorporated business tax, they need to now be in that other threshold, being viewed as the same as with your corporate. I mean, just opening a small business here, in, for example, financial advice, wealth management, money management, etc., I didn't realize I would have to go be incorporated. What that means audited financial accounts. That means dealing with lawyers, dealing with certified accountants. That means a significant increase in cost just to operate without ever even getting out the door and earning $1 of revenue. Just to participate, it's expensive. So a lot of people don't incorporate. And the lack of incorporation is almost like we're being penalized by then having to pay on revenue rather than on profits. And it shouldn't be. There should be no distinction there in my mind.
So that should change, you think?
It would change, but it would be it's whether or not we have the framework to allow it to change.
Because it's funny, when you told me that last week, I didn't even realize that. So, like you said, you can make a certain amount of money, but you may have actually made a loss, but you still have to pay.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
That makes no sense to me.
So if you're into music, I don't know if you have your DJing system, if you go out, you play, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Technically, if you're registered, you should be paying taxes on every dollar, right? Now 2% maybe go to 4%. So on every dollar, 4 cents go back out. But then when in the absence of incentive, how do you police that? Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna go to the break, but we have a first caller. We'll take the break after. Go ahead, caller.
Good morning, Jamster.
Oh, hi. Good morning.
And good morning, Mr. Martin.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
You're just not too bad. You're just financial, economical.
Yeah, my background in economics and doctorate degree in financial planning. Yeah.
Well, my question to you, right? We are always talking about small business and small business to strive and to help small business. But don't you believe that we got to educate some of our people? We're into small business. Because some of them go to the bank, take loan, and they don't know how to manage that loan they take. And I believe that there's some kind of program for some of these people, especially people who getting into this for the first time.
Yes, I agree with you, Carl.
Because, let me tell you something, right? I see small business people get different loan and a different administration we get into government. And the business just run down like that. Because of poor management, bad management, sometimes that they got the wrong set of person in the business and they take advantage of whatever. So just talking about small business and uplift small business, and we got to educate. I believe that these people got to educate themselves towards going into a business, because going into a business ain't easy.
It's not.
Going into a business to help feed your family, to help pay your bills, to help maybe send out the children them to university or whatever. And when you're gonna do that, when you're gonna do this as your own entrepreneur, you got to pay maybe weeks, pay months, pay out of that business, and you fail to run the business how it's supposed to run. I believe that is a big problem.
No, you're absolutely right.
In the federation.
You're absolutely right, Carlo. You're absolutely right. I agree with you 110%.
Okay, I'll listen to yourself.
All right. So, I think we could answer that from two different perspectives. Do you want me to answer now, or you want to cut to break, Jamster?
Let's get the break.
And then we'll answer when we come back. All right, sounds good. All right.
And more importantly, a deeper engagement with our local offerings. And I am pleased to say, Madam Speaker, on the last point of having a deeper engagement with our local offerings, we have partnered with one of our industry partners, that is Carnival Cruise Lines.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Magnum, my brand. Everybody put your Magnum in the air now. From you a drink Magnum, make me see. Take charge of things now your place now. From the river to the beach to the street. Hot Magnum when me have in a me hand there. Give her a sipper, she tell me sweet. Look for me watch for your quick time check. Yeah. Right now a Magnum a for your beat. Enjoy yourself every day of the week with a Magnum. My life I forget sweeter. Must be 18 years and older to drink responsibly.
50,000?
50,000?
$50,000? Win big with TDC. Win up to $50,000 cash in the TDC Mega Rewards Mega Raffle. To enter, you must be a Mega Rewards member or sign up to TDC Mega Rewards Loyalty Program. Shop at our TDC retail stores or online at shoptdcgroup.com to receive one entry for every $250 spent. Draws take place from July to November. Win $10,000 every month with your entry rolled over so you can win even more.
Yes, this is 50.
Terms and conditions apply.
This Christmas is all about you. Yeah, boy. Flowing the joy and better value.
With our new fiber network, sign up for any home internet plan or bundle mobile with home internet and get a $100 gift card. Get up to 1 gigabyte internet speeds, plus a chance to win prizes this holiday season.
This Christmas is all about you. Yeah, boy. Flow brings the joy and better value. Together, imagine all we could do. Prizes and offers inspired by you.
Flow, connecting hearts and homes this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Out the island, which is what we are referring to as community tourism, we want to work with them to ensure that these experiences are supported and connected to the tourism value chain. As such, Madam Speaker, we will continue to prioritize community tourism even more.
And we are back, and we've got Marsha Henderson doing her thing there at today's
I like
city.
Marsha. I like the Honorable Minister. I think she taught me for like one term before she went off to law school.
Oh, she used to teach?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
very briefly, and then she went off to law school. Jamster, to answer the caller before we went to break, I think you could take two approaches. Yes, I agree that if financial institutions are going to provide loans for some of these business individuals, and in fact, there's one particular financial institution that provided a lot of loans to individuals starting certain types of businesses that we've observed over the last number of years. But yet it seems like a number of those businesses are no longer in operations. You know, I always have to choose my words carefully here. But the reality is, for example, we have Small Business Development Corporation that provides, I'm not sure if it's monthly, but I know they provide program and technical assistance, etc. And that's outside, and they help with the planning and operations and those types of topics. And then you also have, I think, other maybe out of the chamber, other financial education opportunities there. Out of Development Bank, there's some I know they have a small business development unit at Development Bank. Again, opportunities there. I know the Taiwanese have held through their ministry and their diplomatic outreach, they've held a number of grant programs that provides training, etc. So to the caller, yes, I think the institutions has a responsibility to protect their assets, protect their financial position at the end of the day by providing more technical assistance and education. But I also think there's the personal responsibility of these entrepreneurs to go out and seek it. However, depending on the business, for example, if you take loans to have a rental car company, for example, Jamster, the bank should make sure that you have commercial rental insurance and you have a framework in which to operate that, because a lot of these individuals that rent cars today, whenever the car gets in an accident, it's down because they don't have the money to fix it. Whenever there's a maintenance issue, they don't have the money to fix it. So there should be some program, if there's not, that puts a certain level of percentage in reserves and maintenance, because you can make a lot of money, man. People are making $6,000 leasing cars that cost $1,000, right? It's crazy, right? When you look at some of these things, I have had some friends that have been leasing long term, and they're paying an average of $1,500 a month on cars that are 15 years old, right? It's crazy, right? So there's obviously a market out there, but they have to be able to operate in that sense. And then one of the things that I really want to caution small businesses on is that liability insurance. If you're a business and you're engaging with the public, and you have you are opening up yourself to liability, right? That goes from something as simple as transporting people as taxi drivers. We have a lot of these Uber drivers that have popped up, you know, and some of them are driving with just third-party insurance, just liability. What if you're in an accident and you hurt somebody that's inside and it's your fault? Right? There's some complications that come there. All the food vendors on the side of the road, where's your liability insurance? What if you give somebody uncooked chicken? Like I went up by the airport on the weekend, and the guy was like, look, the chicken needs 5 more minutes. If you're going to think that, it's on your responsibility, because he understands salmonella.
The Jamaican stand?
Yeah. But he understood that salmonella poison is real, and he didn't want to hurt his customers. But, you know, I'm not saying that you be you'll be more neglectful if you have insurance, but you'll protect yourself and your companies, because that's the thing. When you're not an incorporated business, you do not have that level of protection from liability. So now, as a regular business on the side of the road, you're exposing yourself to a lot of personal liability, and you'll have that responsibility. And this is very true for government service, not government service, people providing goods as well as services. So hopefully that answers the caller's that question.
I actually had a question before, but I forgot now. And it was a pretty good question too. I don't remember what it is now. But folks, don't forget you can give us your calls at 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. Voices are Dr. Terrence Martin. He's our Money Matters host. Every Monday from 10 until 11, and make sure that you tune in and get his insights and his counsel on how to manage your money and grow your money. Right?
And in the new year, we're going to expand those topics. We're going to talk about the macro economy, the micro invest. We're going to talk about everything and really see all aspects of money, not just on the personal side, but even on the corporate side. So hoping that y'all could help me get some guests. But yeah. John, so before we took a clip and we heard the Honorable Minister talking about an unemployment fund, which I think is a brilliant idea. But again, it's an unemployment fund, and usually those types of funds come from the perspective of contributions. So I didn't hear all of it. I don't know how they're going to approach it, but I'm just saying, yeah, even when the guise of no new taxes, that don't mean no new fees, right? So it's great if we have some of these things that are put in place to protect the average citizen, but we also can't expect the government to bear the full financial burden or the full investment burden, and then it becomes completely riskless. Liken that to the United States, I pay $1, 1.45% or 1.65%, whatever it is, every month on every dollar I earn. And the thing is, I can't file for unemployment, right? I'm out of the system in that regard, right? But you have the average person, we contribute to that fund, and it might be something that's similar here. So that was something interesting. Would love to hear more about what's going on in the individual ministries outside of the highlights. Yes, everybody cared about the double. Everybody cared about, that. We didn't get a double.
Or the 1.5.
Or the 1.5. Yeah, no, right? And it's an extra bonus. Okay, cool. But I think it's allocation to the ministries and some of those programs that are going to be happening that's going to drive the economy and really set us up for 2024.
I mean, aside from whatever maybe you and CJ would want to say about, paying a double salary, I have to say it was a kind of an outside the box approach to doing what had become normal, which is a double salary. I was saying, one and a half salary, that's nothing to sneeze at.
No, I mean it's an extra 50% on your check, right? So if you make $2,000 a month, you get extra $1,000. If you make $5,000, you get an extra $25,000, and so on. It's still a significant contribution. And then there was the dividend came in at the same time. So those who don't work for government got an incentive. We know some private entities pay major bonuses, like National Bank. Those are legendary bonuses we've heard about over the years. About those, yes. Hopefully they're going to get that. There's going to be new money in the economy.
They would get the $500 on top of their national.
I mean, based on the CVI dividend and the structure, right? So there's going to be new monies in the economy, and that's a good thing, but it could also be, again, inflationary. And then the decision is, so for example, people ask, why can't pay a double? But that 8%, if you actually work it out over the next 12 months, represent the other half of that income, right? You actually get that additional full. But then it goes back to the conversation that we had, where not, even though everyone gets the 8%, some will have that contributory pension that they have to fund, which I'm all about participation. But when it comes to pensions, what people have to realize is that the government bears the financial burden, right? The government bears the financial burden. The government bears the risk. All right, I'm actually not a fan of pensions. Right, and the reason is because we have limitations on what we could do. And I liken this, for example, in the U.S., for example, in Texas, government workers contribute 7%, but they're only guaranteed 2%. Whereas when I worked there and I contributed my 7%, my return on investment, no new bounds. It could have been 18, 20, whatever. No, there was no downside protection on losses. All right. So the pension provides that downside protection on losses, but in terms of the return on your investment, it's usually not as high. And when it comes to investing, remember we're talking about over the long term, that long-term trajectory that will really be to the benefit of the people. But again, in the absence of a vibrant capital market in the Eastern Caribbean, then a pension is definitely the way to go. And we need something in labor, coming out of the labor department that says, yes, they're working on this unemployment fund, but I want to see a private pension that is not provided by insurance companies, because the fees on those reduce anything, especially when you're just from inflation. It costs you more than your benefit at the end of the day. So I would love to see a private pension come out, similar to the savings scheme that they want to set up for the young people.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Terrence Martin, he is my guest for at least as long as I can have him here on Voices. It's 11:35. Please give us a call and any questions. So, and you guys can call on any topic you want. You know, it's not restricted to money matters.
Exactly. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Whatever they want to talk about, that'll be good.
Well, how about, okay, you talk about something that's not I mean, something that's maybe on your mind, piqued your interest.
On my mind. But that's putting me on the spot here, James. I
mean,
don't know.
even in the news, I mean,
I think, you know, we as a region, I know we saw, it was really good to see the Prime Minister head into St. Vincent the other day to participate in, you know, the Guyana and Venezuela talks about, you know, what is it, Essequibo?
Yeah.
You know, and this morning there was a spirited conversation there about, you know, the current interest and why Venezuela didn't move. Well, I mean, you're not going to move on something that might be unproductive land, but now I see that it could be billions and billions and billions of dollars. Of course, now I'm incentivized to move, because if Venezuela is able to control that region, they're going to be, like the top 3 oil producer in the world? Right,
yeah,
for
but
the
where has that gotten them? They have
hyperinflation of over 360%,
but they also have some of the largest reserves in the world. And where has that gotten them?
Because again, it goes
they're a basket case, pretty much.
It goes back to, you know, political unrest and sanctions placed by the U.S. government and some other governments around the world. And the people, there's a lot of migration, and people are migrating because the cost of living is so high. So it's not being redistributed back to the people, which is always interesting to see, because Venezuela was in turmoil. They were hearing saying it's giving out free houses. Right,
yeah,
it's always interesting to see these kind
same
of
thing with
things.
Cuba too. I mean, don't let Cuba off the hook, because I never understood. I'll give you an anecdote on that. I remember, I think you remember that time when, I don't know if you were here at the time, when they were giving out the bulbs.
I heard about it.
Yeah, and I don't think, I wasn't married yet, so I was living in my apartment, and they had some Cubans actually coming around, and I remember one of my neighbors told me after, this Cuban girl came into bringing the bulbs, and she put them in her daughter's room. Her daughter, I think, was about maybe 6, 7 at the time. And the daughter has her own room, because, you know, I used to go over by them, and so I know. So she pointed out that the Cuban was asking the girl, was shocked that a 7-year-old had her own room completely to herself. Because the person had 3 kids, right? A son, a daughter, and a little girl. And so that kind of stuck with me, because here they are giving out bulbs, and they're giving us bulbs. And the Cuban herself was shocked to find that, okay, this is a 3-bedroom house, and no, a 4-bedroom house, and everybody has their own room, you know. And the Cuban girl was shocked that, because she said she was signaling to the little girl, like, this is your room? And she's like, yes, this is my room. And, and she was, so, you know, it's funny how that works, because, like you said, they're having I remember at the time they were having all those problems in Venezuela, but meanwhile, They're giving us.
I mean, because there's always allocation for diplomatic stuff, right? Like you see that in the U.S. where we have rising inflation, major poverty. You see the government has given in the past year $200 billion to Ukraine for the war. And this is in the backdrop where you have student loan workers, people with student loans who, Biden said, we're going to reduce up to $20,000 of student loan debt. It was too expensive. But yet, here's, Russia annexing Ukraine, and it's no longer too expensive.
I never understood that.
And if you think about, if that's what they did for Ukraine, what the hell are they going to do for Israel? Because the U.S. is like the great defender of Israel. How much money are they going to pump into Israel? And will the taxpayers allow their dollars to be used in a way that might not be in their interest?
But, one of the things that I'm afraid is happening to Americans is that they're not using history as their teacher. I mean, if you know what happened during World War One and even World War Two, probably World War Two is a better example. Here you had say insurgent Germany, imperialist Germany wanted to take over most of Europe. And also had buy-in from the Japanese over in Asia, right? I mean, if things had gone differently, we could have been speaking German or even Japanese now. You never know.
Hey, in some cases, maybe the French should have won.
Yes,
So.
so the point I'm making is, when you think about that, if the Americans had not stepped in, things could have gone a lot differently. And I think that Americans are losing sight of that fact right now because imperialist Russia will always be an imperialist country. Listen, if people knew what Russia was originally on the map thousands of years ago, thousands of years ago would be better. Russia would have been, most of Russia now is countries that they conquered.
Yeah, it was,
all these countries that they conquered, and they will not stop. I mean, they've boasted about Russia stretching from Ireland to what's the other end? Ireland to what's that island that they own? The island that they own up in north, which is basically northern Japan, which they Sakhalin Island, I think. Yeah.
Okay, you beat me on that geography.
Yeah, Sakhalin Island. I was trying to remember. And they went to war with they went to war with Japan, and Japan handed them their asses, right?
See, the Russian strong suit here becomes their position in energy in the world, and their position in.
It's been a double-edged sword for them, though.
It has
because they've never been able to develop any other the leg of the economy because of their dependence on timber and minerals and petroleum.
But I think they have a very checkered history. So, for example, most of the places where people diversify their economies were into like tourism and construction. And still in that area, Russia is still one of the leading economies in some of these industries. Like Germany is the epicenter of manufacturing for European Union. The U.S. is the epicenter of manufacturing for the Western Hemisphere. It's interesting to see where Putin or the Putin regime will go, or what life would be like after Putin. But they feel they're not calling it a war. In fact, it's illegal in Russia to call what they've been doing wars, right? They think that it's their land. They're just taking back what's theirs. And in fact, the irony, back to Venezuela real quickly, is that Russia is saying like, hey, hold up, this isn't the approach that we want, because the destabilization of the marketplace could be really bad for them, and they're already on shaky economic ground with all these sanctions finally.
Didn't I send you that article that said that the someone was pointing out that the sanctions are finally starting to bite?
Yeah. You did send me that article, and that's true. Anything government does is a lag. anything government, and that's true for our government here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Whenever we have these economic stimuluses or redistribution of income, the CBI dividend, whatever you want to choose, it's going to be a lag to see it, right? But if you want, Mr. Warner spoke about an economic multiplier before, and whenever you want to move the economy, government has to spend. Whenever private sector can't move it, because they're all about managing profits, right? But really, they should be about managing cash flow. The government, that's not what they're concerned about. If they're going to spend $100 million, they're probably going to spend $110 million because of overrun. But that is going to move the economy. And it's really important that we see some of these things going forward. And we can't afford to have a conflict between Venezuela and Guyana in our region. We benefit from Venezuelan oil. Right, the whole Petro-Carib deal. I don't know if we're still getting that preferential treatment. However, I knew at one point almost every single government owed Venezuela money. So who is your allegiance to in this case?
I remember asking a guy who worked in that office one time if we used to get the oil at preferential prices, and he said, no, that can't happen. The oil still has to be sold at market value.
So where was the benefit then? The ability to run a credit, yes, maybe? I don't know, maybe a credit facility?
Well, maybe that's it, yeah.
Maybe a credit facility, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I always thought, he said, no, oil has to be sold at market value.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's probably the credit thing, which, I think, I remember when Team Unity went in, they paid off, they announced that they paid off whatever the Labour Party before that had ran up or whatever. I don't know. Okay, folks, it's 11:46. Maybe we should take a quick break now and come back. Let's see what Masha is up to.
Okay.
Oh, let me hear what she's saying.
What you say?
She looks very pretty.
Madam
today.
Speaker, I want to assure the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that while we have achieved much, we are not sitting on our laurels. Through robust marketing initiatives, our aim is to continue to generate demand, to fill the seats coming into the destination, and encourage our airline partners to increase the frequency of existing service.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
This Christmas is all about you. Yeah, boy. Flow brings the joy and better value. Together, imagine all we could do. Prizes and offers inspired by you.
This holiday season, get 2 Samsung A04Es for only $299 EC when you sign up for a family postpaid plan. Enjoy up to 60 gigabytes of data, unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube.
This Christmas is all about you. Telling you, boy, Flow brings the joy and better value.
Flow, connecting hearts and homes this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.co. Conditions apply.
Feel the magic happening. Campari. Taste.
Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
And we are back. This is probably common knowledge to people who follow this kind of stuff. But, I've been telling them for months, every time the LIAT question comes up, I tell them that Liat needs to die because
Oh Lord,
Liat has always been a glorified jobs program for the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party, right? But nobody's true.
Jobs say firing shots.
Nobody's true. And I even and this is another thing that always stuck with me, Terrence. I remember they had a CEO. I think he was from Ireland or somewhere one time, and there was a news report on the air where he said the key to turning a profit at Liat is they need to start doing what the other low-cost carriers do. Take, for example, the person that sells you the ticket at the front desk might be the very same person who puts your luggage on the conveyor belt. And okay, there might be someone else who puts it in the actual hold of the plane, but that might be the same person that takes your ticket at the top of the steps before you enter the plane. And little things like that. He said those are the things that you do to make the low-cost airline space work. And I don't know if Antiguans are prepared for that, because you get the impression that it's a whole bunch of people with cushy jobs making a lot of money with their feet up on a desk, a big mahogany desk, and
I think the on the issue of airlines real quickly, and this is just my conjecture again, I'm not in there. I remember the days of early 2000s when the cost of going to Antigua was a couple $100 just to fly over there for.
I remember it was like I remember 170. I remember 175 and stuff like that.
And now it's like $600 to get to Antigua, and part of that is government taxes.
You might have to go to Miami before you go to Antigua.
It's cheaper sometimes to go through the U.S. to get to the region. I remember trying to go to St. Lucia a couple of years ago, and it was almost $1,000. It's cost prohibitive. Look, the reality of the situation here is we could talk about the management. There's been a history of issues with management there. There are issues within the labor space as well, which you just alluded to. But I think if you were to go back to costs, what's happened over the last decade is we had rising of very volatile energy prices, right? And when you look at airlines like Southwest Airlines in the U.S., was a low-cost carrier. In the region, I wouldn't even consider Liat a low-cost carrier, because I would say Caribbean Star and Caribbean Sun was the low-cost carrier of the day, right? Because they stripped stuff down and they made it work, and the prices. Liat was always a little bit higher, and operational was a disaster. Leave Island anytime. But I think what Southwest Airlines did, and a lot of the other airlines do, they participate in futures markets. So, for example, if we saw prices of crude oil coming down in November into December, what they would do, they would buy barrels for delivery 5 years from now or 10 years from now. So you lock in cheaper prices, and then it's then up to that supplier to deliver the goods at a certain point. If we become price takers in the cost aspect, one of the leading cost aspects for our airlines, and you just take what the market price is, then it's going to be great in periods where it's low, and you could offer incentives and reduce your cost of operation. But in most periods where we see oil prices going up over $100 a barrel, $120 a barrel, then you have you have to increase costs, right? You have to pass that cost off to the consumer. Otherwise, if you absorb it. And then what we also need to do, even within a certain business, so that's my one recommend. We got to play in the futures markets. And even within a certain business model as an airline, okay, how do we then, let's say Ryanair or EasyJet in Europe, right? Well, your ticket is one cost. If you want to board earlier than everybody else, that's another cost. If you want to get to the front of the plane so you come off first, that's another cost. If you want to drink, that's another cost. And they also sell merchandise while on the plane. American does this with Sky Mall, right? All the airlines, they have multiple ways of earning money. Also cargo, right? So that's why with the reestablishment of Liat, you heard from Prime Minister Brown that they want to institute a cargo aspect of it. So to transport cargo. So even though the plane goes up half empty, the hull might be full with cargo that's going between different islands, right? So that was another avenue. But we had to find multiple streams of income. So when we just have one flat fee, right, and you go and you sit wherever you want. No, we could prioritize sitting. You could incentivize people for priority boarding and where they go. You know what I'm saying? So They were creative in finding ways, the Spirit Airlines in the US, the EasyJets in Europe, in monetizing per square foot every aspect of the plane, whereas just one flat fee ticket. So that way you could then put it back on the individual to determine how much they want to spend. But again, government taxation is a problem as well. We can't ignore that, where the cost is almost 50% of the ticket.
Let me ask you this question, but before I ask the question, just to sort of answer something you said earlier, we've always been told that when you break down the ticket, I mean, fuel costs always change, but I was told that when you look at the breakdown of the ticket in terms of taxes, the ticket is actually almost more than 50% of the ticket. The taxes, more than 50%
that's
of
true.
the ticket.
That's true. That's true in some cases. Not all cases. But
does this make sense? I had this idea. I said, why can't the government, for example, say, because we have these problems with, everyone complains about how expensive it is to travel between the islands. Can't the government choose a window or a period and say, let's reduce the taxes or take the taxes off completely for 3 months or 6 months, see what happens, and then we'll decide what we'll do. How does it, can that work?
We could have a tax holiday. We could have a brief tax holiday, especially to encourage intra-regional travel.
Yeah.
The reality is our governments seem to not understand the definition of volume, right? We feel like, all right, if we want to make a certain amount of money, let's say we want to make $1,000, then we're going to charge $50. We need 20 people to fly, right? However, if we charge $5, then we can encourage 200 people to fly. That's a 900% increase. That's more spending. Our governments do not understand the concept of volume.
That's exactly
right, because
what I was
it's a sunk cost. Every time that airline takes off with an empty seat, there's a sunk cost. You already has a cost to the airline. It's better to put somebody in that seat than to fly empty. It's the same thing with hotels. Our hotel managers, and COVID showed this like night and day. Compare Nevis to St. Kitts. During COVID, when it came to hotel room use, Nevis opened up their hotels. They opened up their resorts. That's why Nevis became a thing. Everybody started to go over to Nevis because the cost of staying was reduced significantly. Whereas in St. Kitts, it was almost impossible to get a reduction in hotel costs. But because what? Again, this lack of understanding of volume. We also saw it in the real estate market for the rental space, where somebody, you used to charge $800 US in rent. Well, COVID, nobody's here. Well, I'll take off $50.
Volume, that's what the small shop people call turnover, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to understand, and this is why economic education is so important, because it really goes back to incentivizing volume spending, right? We that's why people run discounts, because they're going to make it up with volume, right?
So if you were to choose a window throughout the year for the government to do a tax holiday, just to see what happens,
I would do summer. It's our lowest economic period of activity. Tourism is a big part of our receipts, and we're going to see a reduction in tourist arrivals. It might take us a couple of years to get there. I'm happy for Minister Henderson in that now we have JetBlue. We need to get Virgin here. We need to get the same activity as we're seeing in St. Martin. We need to get the same activity as we're seeing in Antigua. We need to get the same activity as we're seeing in St. Lucia in stay-over tourism.
But
right?
The problem
not necessarily cruise.
It's a chicken and the egg, because whenever I ask the question, I say yes, but we don't have the room stock to.
But the rooms that we have are still not at capacity, and what a lot of people did with COVID, and we went through a period of overbuilding. People have more house than they could afford, right? That's the reality of it, because rental income was factored into the overall. Now banks have gotten there, and they've reduced how much of rental income they they consider in the application, or your debt to income ratio or whatever. But at the same time, now we see those units who no longer filled by university students are now in Airbnb. Now in Barbados, what they started doing is charging a tax. Are we going to get taxes on Airbnb here? It have that started? I don't know, right? Because we have the sharing economy that's made their way to St. Kitts and Nevis, and that's a good thing. So we that's why you have things like Ubers, etc. That's a sharing economy, and so on. You know, people leasing their land and people renting out extra space for storage. That's a part of the sharing economy. So we have a lot of that happening.
Man, this is pretty interesting stuff. Okay, headline news is coming up next. It's we got 1 minute left. You can wrap up, because I imagine you're gonna have.
Yeah, I have to run out, but you know it's really good. Thanks for having me briefly here. And, you know, hopefully, I wish there were more calls. I like to answer questions from the people, but maybe they're locked in to listen to what's going on in Parliament and so on. But I'll be back in the new year, Jams to God, Spare Life, and hopefully we'll continue these conversations. Early January.
Oh, good. So you're going to be here. So you're going to have at least a one or two more.
Maybe one show
in the flesh.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Thanks. It was fun. It was real.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, great. We got headline news coming up. It's 12 o'clock.
From the South, 98.9 FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Our top stories.
DPP moving to shore up police evidence gathering. James charged for harboring a minor. Government to tackle climate change through legislation.
Now the details.
Recently appointed Director of Public Prosecution, Adlai Smith, is moving to train police officers in the proper techniques to ensure evidence gathering is optimal. This comes as cases are often either thrown out or dismissed because of the lack of proper evidence presented to the court or the DPP's office.
Yes, I have plans for that. As a matter of fact, I have a particular format that I've been working on with respect to how I want police files for vetting and for advice and so on to be presented to the DPP office to make sure we cover all of these different things.
Smith speaking with journalist German Abel.
I understand there's an issue with respect to the pocketbook notes. I am disappointed and disheartened when I hear police officers, in answers to questions by the court or by the prosecutor, say, that might have been done, that would have been done, that may have been done. No, you're supposed to know whether it was done or not.
The DPP pointed to his recommendations to officers on best practices to safeguard notes taken from crime scene to prevent loss of memory.
Right, and I want to advocate for a culture whereby every material thing which you have done in relation to an investigation, it must be written down. But I want to go a step further. I've come up with a creative technique whereby sometimes you lose your notebook, right? I've come up with this thing whereby you create a notebook via the use of your email. And everything that you've done in relation to you make a record of it in your email, and you have the relevant subject and so on and so forth, so that if you lose the pocketbook, you come to court, you don't remember, you can just type in such and such a date, what you did on the particular case in the search line for your email, and you find it. You understand what I'm saying? So these are just some of the creative things and some of the ideas I have with improving the particular system that you have here.
No statistics have been garnered up to news time in terms of the level of cases thrown out because of the lack of proper evidence. Meanwhile, Smith noted that he will seek to tackle the issue of complainants being thrown under the bus while investigations are ongoing.
I am aware of that. That is something that will cause me great concern. If you notice, I would have indicated I'm aware of what's happening with the police officers. If there's evidence, there's a charge of misconduct in public office, I need to just verify whether they would be covered under this release of confidential information. I can't remember the exact name of the legislation. But I know if you're releasing confidential information, which is expected to be kept confidential, you release that, you could be subject to a penalty under that particular legislation. I'm not afraid to use the legislation, right? But I have to be satisfied that the evidence is there, and the evidence and all the elements are made out. I have my witness statements so that when I'm ready to go, I'm literally ready to go.
Jaheim James of Upper Market Street has been slapped with a single charge of harboring a minor. Police, in a media statement Monday, disclosed that James was charged on December 15th for the offense of cohabitating with a female under 16 years of age. That offense, according to the police force, was committed on December 13th. The identity of the individual will not be identified because he or she is a minor. The government is expected to step up efforts to transition the Federation to a more energy-efficient location in the fight against climate change. Just recently, Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew led a delegation to Dubai to engage with the 28th Conference of Parties, COP28, where critical matters were discussed and bilateral agreements were made. Additionally, the government engaged with private sector partners to shore up funding for the desired sustainable island state. Following that meeting, the government has legislations it will be proposing to implement in its drive.
Transition to to energy transition. We're going to make sure that, for example, EV vehicles and so forth, that those vehicles will have the necessary concessions to encourage people to buy them. That's one of the things we want to do. We want to also look into subsidizing when it comes to solar panels or any type of infrastructure, equipment, whatever it is to help in the transition to renewable energy. We also want to give the necessary support so that we can make those transitions. So in terms of coming to the Parliament with laws, those are things that will be coming.
Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew. He also spoke to the energy transition.
The other thing is to make sure that when it comes to pollution, that we are stronger on it, so that people don't pollute, and we are looking at other ways of how we can incentivize people to make the transition from fossil fuel to renewable energy. As private homes, businesses, for example, that's from that perspective. But what we are doing in Socrates, we are now creating the largest solar panel course in any college in the Caribbean. And it will be a certified course, so you can prepare technicians for the transition as well. So we're looking at it from that perspective.
The Federation is among a number of small island developing states being threatened by climate change.
In regional news,
and the country is already above global standards in the recycling of plastic bottles. Executive Chairman of the Recycling Partners of Jamaica, Dr. Damien King, made that declaration at the opening of a processing facility in Nagahead, Portmore St. Catherine. It comes as part of the government's plan for a more sustainable economy. Carrie Simpson tells us more.
The drive by the government to reduce the amount of plastics ending up in Jamaican waters is bearing fruit. So much so that efforts to have plastic bottles recycled have surpassed the global standard of 27%. According to Executive Chairman of the Recycling Partners of Jamaica, Dr. Damien King, Jamaica is now 3% over that target. He noted that when the project began 5 years ago, over 60 million bottles were collected. But for 2023, that has reached over 200 million plastic bottles. It's something Minister with Responsibility for Climate Change and Environment, Matthew Samuda, is pleased with. He, however, notes that the 27% global figure will be changed shortly. Hence, there's much more work to do. Mr. Samuda says this comes following the establishment of a global plastic treaty.
But what is this treaty targeting? This treaty, as it stands now, looks to penalize countries that do not collect and recycle 70% of its plastics waste. That will be the headline discussed. Now, with all of these treaties, there will be hundreds of pages.
The minister noted that while other countries in the region will be playing catch-up when the treaty is enforced, Jamaica will be advanced due to the partnership with the Recycling Partners of Jamaica, the government and the private sector.
Jamaica will be well on its way to implement, not just ratify, but implement the terms of that treaty long before the rest of the region. But this treaty will call for other things, some that Jamaica is already moving on. Later in the fiscal year, we will table regulations for the removal of microplastics from our personal care products. Now, that is a very small component weight-wise of our total plastics waste, but that is another thing that this treaty will call for, and we will be 2 to 3 years ahead in ensuring that these microbead plastics that are in your face soaps, are in deodorants, are not entering our wastewater stream, which there is no sewage system globally that can pull this out.
Carrie Ann Simpson for TVJ News.
The Grenada Citizenship by Investment Program, or CBI, on Friday, which sought to clarify recent remarks regarding their policy and application process. And again, this was today, Friday. This following pronouncements during the recently concluded Senate debate of the 2024 budget. Akela Aberdeen has more.
In a release on Friday, the Grenada Citizenship by Investment (CBI) program clarifies and confirms that there has been no change to its policy to barring applications from Russia, Belarus, North Korea, and Iran, contrary to previous statements by Leader of Government Business in the Senate, Senator Adrian Thomas. During his presentation on Wednesday, Senator Thomas stated that the CBI program is now open to all nationalities.
The program is open to everyone, whether you are Chinese, whether you are Russian, whether you are African. The first thing this administration sees is a human being. to ask you, we don't continue to see what blood runs through your veins, whether it's African blood or Chinese blood or Russian blood. Madam President, we are here to bring benefits to our people.
Senator Thomas did not apologize to nor inform legislators in the upper house that his previous statement was inaccurate. However, he did not give an update statement ensuring that the correct information is placed on the handset.
As of March 31st, have not been selling passports to the Russians. But we not only selling passports, but in terms of business, the Citizenship by Investment program has not been exposed as of March 31st to the Russians. However, we are living in a free world.
Under the Citizenship by Investment program, foreign nationals are granted Grenadian citizenship in return for making a significant investment in the socio-economic development of Grenada. According to the release, Grenada remains committed to the 6 CBI principles agreed upon between the United States Treasury and the 5 governments of the Eastern Caribbean Investment Migration Programs on February 25, 2023. Reporting for MTV News, I am Akil Aberdeen.
We now bring you these international reports.
Already uprooted from their homes, thousands of Sudanese are fleeing again. After 8 months of conflict and more than 12,000 people killed, the number of displaced keeps growing. Since Friday, clashes between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces have spread to the state of Al Jazeera. A previously untouched region south of Khartoum, its main city had become a refuge for 500,000 people.
500,000 IDPs are in Wad Madani, and they were on the move to Sinnar, which is another city. It's like an hour's drive from Wad Madani. But there's fuel shortages. What would have been normally an hour's trip ended up taking 11 hours. So basically, people are just on the move.
As the battlefield extends south, the city of Wad Madani is no longer a safe haven. Crowds of families are forced to leave with whatever belongings they can carry. 14,000 people have fled the area so far. Back in April, what began as a power struggle between military ruler Abdel Fattah el-Burhan and his deputy, General Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, erupted into open conflict. Half the population in Sudan is in need of humanitarian aid.
We are warning of a looming hunger catastrophe by next year's lean season if we're unable to expand access and regularly deliver food assistance to people trapped in conflict hotspots. But we've only managed to reach the capital one time in the last 3 months.
Now, the UN says that funding for aid is running low. Most of the world's attention is focused elsewhere, with Russia's war in Ukraine and Israel's military campaign on Gaza. Meanwhile, Khartoum is a daily battleground, and war rages on the outskirts of Wad Madani, in what many fear is a new front in this war. Ibtisam Genfoud, Al Jazeera.
I'm Sally Bundock. We begin in Hong Kong today, where the high-profile trial of the former media tycoon and pro-democracy campaigner Jimmy Lai has, in the last few hours, got underway. The 76-year-old was originally arrested in 2020, accused of undermining the territory's national security through articles published in his Apple Daily newspaper on social media as well. Mr. Lai has been held in solitary confinement for the past 3 years since his writing was deemed to be illegal under new legislation imposed by Beijing. Security was tight around the court for the start of his trial. Mr. Lai, who's also a British citizen, has pleaded not guilty to all charges. The United States and Britain's condemned the trial and have urged the authorities in Hong Kong to release the businessman. This report from our diplomatic correspondent, James Landale.
Jimmy Lai used to be a powerful media boss in Hong Kong, and he used his Apple Daily newspaper to criticise China's Communist Party. He also took part in and supported pro-democracy demonstrations in the former British colony, which led the authorities to impose tough national security laws. 3 years ago, they arrested Mr. Lai and jailed him for fraud, which he denied. And now they're trying him for sedition and collusion with foreign governments, which he also denies. Mr. Lai, who's 76, was born in mainland China, but he's also a British national. Last week, Lord Cameron met his son, Sebastian, at the Foreign Office. In a statement, the Foreign Secretary said he was particularly concerned at the politically motivated prosecution of Mr. Lai, who'd been targeted, he said, for exercising his freedom of expression. He added, "I call on the Hong Kong authorities to end their prosecution and release Jimmy Lai." Mr. Lai's supporters do not expect a fair trial. If convicted, he could face life in prison. The proceedings, which may last months, will be seen as a fresh challenge to media freedom in Hong Kong and will shape its reputation for global investors. China has urged the UK to stop meddling in its affairs. James Landell, BBC News.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Well, it's 12:25, and we are back for the second half of Voices, which is brought to you by Hosford's. So we get a word from Hosford's, and I will take your calls. In fact, what I might do is might give you a little longer window into what's going on at the National Assembly. I don't know if they've taken a break or... Okay, they haven't. Okay, so maybe I'll give you a little bit of Minister Henderson. But let's get a word from Hosford's first.
Here are your Hosford's Value Mark IGA special.
Running December 14th to the 27th.
The more you shop, the more you save.
In December, get the double points when you shop at Value Mart.
Now, our Value Club Christmas specials. Pringles chips, just $9.99. Pearl Pancake Mix, $12.49. Nestle Splash, $9.99. Dole Food Folds, $14.99. Post Great Grains cereals, $18.99. Chaborni Greek yogurt, $5.69. And now our very low weekly
value deals. Essential everyday apple juice, $6.99. Essential everyday party and dry roasted peanuts, $12.99. IGN Essential everyday flour, $9.99. IGN Essential everyday cereals, $9.99. Handy for roaster pans, $5.99. Dial Software, $11.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart for this Christmas and get double points for more rewards today.
En la temporada de Navidad continuamos con las recompensas y los puntos dobles. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en
Value Mart.
Inspiration, or the honeymoon and marriage inspiration aspects of the product. I like to tell the story of how our culinary, when I go on these trips, how our culinary tells our story as a people. When you come here, just by going to, for example, on the strip and eating local food tells who we are. So, for example, we have black pudding. Black pudding was created from our ancestors. It comes out of our culture, where the slaves they took, I think it's the intestines. I mean, I don't eat it, but they took the intestines, cooked rice in blood, and created what we now have as a delicacy. Similarly, because of the resiliency of our ancestors, and we tell these stories, and people are amazed and want to come here. How we have sauce, because our ancestors were given the parts of the swine, while the plantation owners got the leaner parts of the meat. We got the foot, we got the tail, we got the ear, the snout, and we've managed, through our culinary, to create an authentic type of culinary experience that tells our story as a people. And so I'm always overwhelmed with the products that we offer here in tourism in St. Kitts and Nevis. Madam Speaker, to convert our plans for sustainable tourism that benefits our local businesses and residents into action that truly harnesses tourism as a regenerative force for good will take deep and close coordination, both across government and also private sector and communities. The St. Kitts Sustainable Destination Council was established in 2013, 10 years ago, of course under a Labour-led government, at the recommendation of the Global Sustainable Tourism Council as one of the first destination stewardship councils in the world. Designed to foster cross-sector collaboration on protecting our community and making sure tourism works well for our local people, our environment, our economy and culture, the Sustainable Destination Council has capably served as an advisory body to the Ministry of Tourism for the last 10 years. So for us, sustainable tourism isn't new. I mean, now we're working towards a sustainable island state, but in tourism, we've always been aware that if we don't adopt sustainable practice, we won't have a destination to sell. For the last 10 years, St. Kitts has been systematically in the process of working towards compliance with the Global Sustainable Tourism Council's criteria for destinations. This is the world's leading standard for sustainability of tourism management within destinations. The motto of the St. Kitts Sustainable Destination Council is good for us, better for all, meaning that if St. Kitts is first and foremost a wonderful place for our residents to live, then and only then will it also be a great place for visitors to experience. And as such, we continue to advocate with our stakeholders to implement, whether it's in the accommodation sector, as Sunset Reef has done, and this government is accommodating in terms of providing concessions for those partners and stakeholders who are interested and who want to be a part of the sustainable agenda. So whether it's hotel or otherwise, our government is prepared to accommodate. As part of the next chapter of the Sustainable Destination Council, we will be putting out a call to local organizations and residents to participate as members of the SDC. Our ministry is committed to putting our local people back at the center of our tourism plans. And let me say that again, Madam Speaker. Our ministry and our government is committed to putting our local people back at the center of our tourism plans. And I ask each and every one of you under the sound of my voice to join me in helping me to make tourism work better for all of us. The achievements and plans that I have outlined for the Ministry of Tourism, I must say, Madam Speaker, align perfectly with the government's overall agenda of achieving a sustainable island state. We will therefore continue our hard work in the industry with the citizens of this federation in mind, and of course, the future generations. Madam Speaker, before I close, permit me to thank the good people of Central Bastille for their trust and confidence, the trust and confidence that they have placed in me as their representative in these halls. Earlier, we had some children who were here present, and of course, their attention span is very limited at that age. When we had our one-on-ones, we had a meet and greet recently in Central Bastille for the youths. And I was amazed with the different ages of children who came. One of the boys who sat there, he thought I was the Prime Minister. So he came in, he sat in front of me, and he said, "I want to be the Prime Minister like you." He's 7 years old, Madam Speaker, and it warmed my heart that we have young men, albeit, in 7 years old, aspiring to be a future leader as opposed to what McKnight is known for, which is shooting and killing, unfortunately. Now, apparently they went to the bathroom as well. But he said that to me, and I said, "I am not the Prime Minister. Do you want me to take you to meet the Prime Minister?" And he said, "Yes, yes, and when I go, I want to wear a suit. Please don't forget the tie and the belt." And he was there with his friend. And the friend, I was so amazed. So I looked to the friend and I said, "So what can I do for you today?" Because they were there on their one-on-ones. This was particular for young people. And I said, Yes. I said, what? So I turned to his friend. His friend is Vernon. And I said, "Vernon, what can I do for you today?" And he said, You see what he said? I said, yes, he said. He said, just what he said, write down on your paper. And I saw them, I went to look for them. They sometimes hang out in Prickle Pear Alley, and I was driving that way. And I saw them a Sunday morning while I was driving, and I said, I couldn't remember his name. And I called him a different name, and he said, look on your paper. Because he understood I was writing. He said, look on your paper, and you would see my name. Madam Speaker, we also met with young females. One of them was here as well. She told me she wants to be a minister of governments. And she is going to do her best in school to make sure that one of these days she can come out and be a leader in McKnight. I reached out to their parents and asked them if I could take them to Parliament to meet the members of the government and even the members who sit on the opposition side, and their parents were happy to send them. They may not be able to stay beyond lunch, but they're right here, Madam Speaker. And there were a few of them. I just wasn't able to find them during the Christmas vacation. But a few of them came. We did specific one-on-ones for the young people in McKnight. And surprisingly, we got these children as well. We got the older ones, the teenagers, but we also got these little ones. And it warms my heart to know that we have future leaders from the Central Basti community. And I will do my best, Madam Speaker, to continue to work with them. And as such, we are going to implement a mentorship program to save not just our boys in McKnight, but our girls. And I would ask some of you to volunteer in this mentorship program just to make sure that we can save this generation. And so I'm happy that they're here with me, Kazani and his brother, and I call her Muffin, but her name is Zahira. Her sister is actually my mentee. She was in sixth form, and I'm happy now to take her under my mentorship as well.
Honourable Member, you have 10 minutes left on your allotted time.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Now, Madam Speaker, for the communities in Central Basti, the budget has allocations for the resurfacing and even the construction of new roads for the good people of Central Basti. And so, when the member from number 3 speaks, you will hear how he's going to, where the money is allocated to him in the budget. I see he's watching me, so I hope he's listening. With some of the monies allocated to him in the budget, resurface some of the roads in downtown Bastia. For example, we've already gotten the resurfacing of the roads in Sprott Street, Market Street, where I hail from. We call it M Street, for those of us in the streets. So we have Market Street resurfaced already. We have Sprott Street, and we also did roads in Greenlands. We're also going to be working on other roads within the city center, and those of you in the Shadwell area, which is a recent development, will get your roads as well. The member from St. Christopher I, when he made his presentation, spoke of the allocations in his budget for repairs to the Irish Town Primary School. In fact, the repairs have started, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, thank you. I was distracted, but within this budget, as it relates to the good and decent people from Central Bastia, who I represent in these halls, I want to assure them that the repairs to the Irish Town Primary School would be completed. We walked there. I see Mr. Dolphin is here, who is also a good partner for the school. We have the windows and the doors that are going to be secured, and all the other repairs that need to be done to the Irish Town School, and the bathroom started. We're happy that We're happy, Madam Speaker, that we were able to put the children back into the schools because they were temporarily housed at 3 different places after the Ministry of Education took the decision that the compounds were not necessarily safe. I've said it before, I cannot believe that people who claimed to be the representative of, a person who claimed to be the representative of Central Bastille and was the Minister of Education, was he? I think. When we looked at the school, we could not even believe the condition the school was in. So people just talk. People just talk and make a lot of noise. Talk, 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 talk. Irish Town School went garbage upon garbage, classrooms locked down, floors falling in. I wondered how teachers even managed to work there and how people could send their children there. Right. But we are going to finish the repairs at the Irish Town Primary School so that our children can thrive and learn in a proper and clean environment. And I see some of them here. We are happy that they're going to have a proper school to attend. Now, as it relates to Central Bastille, Madam Speaker, we intend to work with the Department of Constituency Empowerment. And the department has been doing an excellent job. We had some of our empowerment officers who were here this morning, where they're doing the assessment and research on the grounds in terms of what policies or projects should be introduced to benefit the constituency. What came out of some of the findings as it relates to Central Bastille is that there are a number of derelict vehicles and abandoned properties that is causing a nuisance to the residents in Central Bastille. So, Madam Speaker, based on the findings from the Constituency Empowerment Department, we're hoping that in their budget, I think, and the monies are allocated in this budget to assist, and we thank the Honourable Minister of Finance for the allocation to assist with the cleanliness for Central Bastille, the removing of derelict vehicles. When you drive, you would see 3 abandoned vehicles in moving years, just packed up and rusting, and they're just there, and it's causing rodents, Madam Speaker, and even affecting the safety of the residents in Central Bastille, as well as the overgrown properties where residents reside overseas and have not looked back. And people occupy these premises for different reasons and sometimes, bad reasons. When we were canvassing the other day, we were in the Dorset area in particular, and the residents were saying, look at this house, it's been like this for years. Vagrants go in there, people hide guns in there, and so we're going to use the monies allocated, some of the monies allocated in the budget to assist the good people in Central Bastille to clean the overgrown properties and remove the derelict vehicles. We have an amazing team that we work with in Central Bastille. Yesterday we had our toy drive, the Santacade, and we were able to deliver lots of toys to the children in Central Bastille. We drove around all the communities, and it was so heartwarming to see their faces and even meet the people of Central Bastille and just to wish them all the best for the season. And so we are going to benefit. And one last thing, Madam Speaker, I know when I spoke to the Minister of Housing, the Honourable Member for St. Christopher I, he did mention, and we've been hearing the cries from the people at the Gardens Housing Project in relation to the repairs that are long overdue there and even for the houses they built in Shadwell. So $700,000 is allocated in the budget for the Gardens Housing Project for us to effect the repairs necessary there. And maybe we could share some of it for the people in Shadwell as well, who continue to complain about all the different issues that they continue to experience. And so Central Bastille will benefit from this budget, Madam Speaker, and I continue to be the humble servant for those people, those good people in Central Basti. I see some of Tracelyn, who is here, Tracelyn Charles. She's in Parliament today, Madam Speaker. She single-handedly, of course, with the support of the people in the diaspora who support St. Kitts and Central Basti, organized successfully a toy drive. And she was able to bring them down, Madam Speaker, to ensure that our children are happy as well with all the other things we got for them. Thanks, sir. And so, Madam Speaker, I'm going to close, but at this time I just want to mention the names, and this is significant for us, the names of the members of the Minimum Wage Committee. I know I addressed that earlier, but I see His Excellency Sam Conda is here, and I just want to mention he's provided me with the names of the persons who served on the committee, and this is historical for us, Madam Speaker. And that is so because the minimum wage was not increased for 10 years. And in such short time, this team, this group, was able to do consultations, extensive consultations, and make proper recommendations, not just for the increase in the minimum wage, but for all the other plans that go to make sure that there is no real shock as a result of it. So from the St. Kitts Nevis Trades and Labour Union, we had Sydney Bridgewater, just to read into the record, Precious Mills, Curtis Francis, Sean Kelly, and Nadine Natter. From the ministry, which is my Ministry of Employment and Labour, we had our permanent secretary, Denise Daniel, and she's here this morning, our Commissioner of Labour, Shernell James, Terrell Bass, Genevieve Mills, and Joel Watley. And from the St. Kitts Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we had representation from Kevin Taylor, Kevin Thompson, Shirley Benjamin, Jeanette Robinson, Mark Wilkin, and Leroy Richardson. From the Department of Labour in Nevis, Shaniel Skeet, if I'm saying it correctly, represented the department there. We also had representation from the Statistics Department, and Carlton Phipps represented the department. From Social Security, we had Donovan Herbert, and from the Ministry of Education, Carla Diamond. Social Services was represented by Azila Clark, and the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank by Patricia Haynes Welch. The Teachers Union, Cavell Mills, and from the Ministry of Trade, we had Deidre Daniel and Irvin Daniel. The Ministry of Finance, we had representation through Amoy Heiliger, and the Ministry of Sustainable Development through Paul Quealy. And lastly, and by no means late, the Association of Private Educators, we had representation there by Kimon Archibald Lake. And these were the persons who worked tirelessly and diligently, Madam Speaker, on the minimum wage, the increase in the minimum wage, and all the recommendations that were made. And so, Madam Speaker, I will close and support the bill made by the mover, the Minister of Finance, and wish safe passage, and wish the bill safe passage through this Honourable House. May it please you.
Okay, so I thought I'd stay with Minister Henderson, as the speaker had told her that she had about 10 minutes left. So we're going to take a quick break, and when I come back, if you guys want to discuss anything you heard, of course you didn't hear her whole presentation, but I thought I would try and give you guys some windows into the proceedings at the National Assembly. So if there's anything that piques your interest, including what Minister Henderson was talking about, anything at all, we can discuss that on the remaining minutes on Voices. It's 12:48, so we have about 42 minutes. Yeah, that's a lot of time. We can do a lot with that time. So let's get a word from Hosfords and come back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9 Win FM.
Are you ready to turn transactions into treasures? It's time to unlock the triple transformation transaction treasures at Holtzman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store St. Kitts. With every hire purchase, not only do you get quality furniture, but you also get triple cash back for free groceries. That's right, triple your saving, triple your transformation. Imagine a home beautifully furnished and a pantry stocked to the brim, all in one go. Our expert staff is standing by, ready to guide you to the pieces that will make your dream home a reality. Horsford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store St. Kitts, where quality meets affordability. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Visit our showrooms today and start your journey from transactions to treasure. Horsford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store St. Kitts, transforming home one transaction at a time. Visit us today and experience the triple transformation transaction treasures.
Ten minutes until 1 o'clock, and I'm back for the remaining, 40 minutes? Yeah, 40 minutes of Voices, and this half brought to you by Hosford's. You just heard from them. And you also just heard from Minister Marsha Henderson, and like I was doing in the first hour, I was just giving you little windows when we went to and from the commercial breaks. So the phone lines are open. We can discuss anything you guys want to discuss, including what you heard so far. I noticed we weren't getting that many calls earlier, and me and Terrence, we kind of figured that it was that maybe people were listening to the National Assembly proceedings on another station. But Voices, go right ahead.
Hi, good day, greetings.
Hi, what's up?
Well, what I really call for is just to touch on the issue, which is still going. It's the Venezuela-Guyana situation. I was happy to hear Honorable Matt mention it. I went into detail, like sometimes I would have mentioned the consequences that would happen if we do not really try to get peace, not only for Venezuela and Guyana, but in our hemisphere. The scripture speaks to a soft word turned away anger, but a rough one stirs up wrath, right? And even though we might have certain things, the most important thing at this time is peace. War brings nothing else but death and destruction, as I can repeat. And I don't want to go too much into it because Mr. Bradley has spoken it. But what I'm happy for is that the meeting between both leaders occurred, and that they set up teams now to meet. How often they take to discuss the way forward and to make sure peace is maintained. It is for us now, I must say, our leaders, our prime ministers, our foreign affairs, to encourage such and to keep in contact, because peace for them is peace for us. Prosperity for them could be prosperity for us, because we have trading things going on with both, in particular the oil. And yes, we could get oil from other places, but there's a special arrangement made right now. Not sure if we will get another one. But what we have now, let's use and build upon it. And for those, we try to bear. I know you mentioned about the budget as the budget was going on. You know what? It's the job of the government, and it's the job of the opposition in Parliament to ensure whatever the budget is, the best outcome is there for the nation, persons, the citizens to benefit, and the businesses to benefit, because if the businesses are not in a good position to carry on, a lot of unemployment will come. Because this could be said, profit gain over here is a loss over here for someone. And therefore, it must be balanced, a balanced approach. So I'm looking forward for the new year for a number of things. But I must mention at this time, we need peace not only for Venezuela and Guyana, but right here in our St. Kitts and Nevis. Because violence is high, and I'm using this opportunity, I'm not sure if I might get the opportunity to do it again, to call upon every citizen in St. Kitts and Nevis and resident. Let us resolve differences in a peaceful and friendly and caring manner, because it only benefits each and every single one of us and our nation at large. Let us come into 2024. Let us reduce the crime. We who are peaceful, it may not so mean thing to us because they're not involved, but the persons who are involved in doing different things, we have to talk with them. Let them know, let them understand. Peace is better. Just like how we could call for, let's say, peace between, let's say, Russia and Ukraine and all these things. We can do it right here for our people. This is not time for having any gang going to 2004. That should be a thing of the past. Because being in a gang, that means you sometimes left out of gainful employment. And we need gainful employment for everyone at this time. So my message for us is peace abound in all our hearts and in true sentiments. And for my constituents, in Constituency 7, God bless you all. God continue to bless you all. May his mercies be upon you. And now I want to extend that to the entire nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. God bless us all. May us have a peaceful and loving and God-fearing Christmas. Blessings to you, my friend.
Same to
God
you.
bless St. Kitts and Nevis.
Same to you, Mr. Pell. Okay, great. Yes, all love to Mr. Pell and everyone else. This is a season for love, the season of love. So let's all remember that we're all human beings first. Probably conditions and divisions second, and everything else comes after. All right. Voices, you're on the air.
Good afternoon again, Jamster.
Hey, what's up? Mr. P.
The Jamster, I calling this morning, but I forgot to say my prayer.
Mm-hmm.
First, I always want to thank the Lord for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. I think a blessed country of us. And we only got to pray. Pray and believe in our Bible. That what the Bible will reveal unto man. Now, Jamster, I just want to say we talk about climate change. And I hear about the climate change all the time, but this thing I wasn't taking serious. But now climate change is affecting we in this small country. I get to understand about this climate change and different things and the ozone layer and all these things we used to hear. These things, me and you used to pay attention to these things. But the reason why Jamster paying attention to these things, we getting less rain every year after year, we getting less rain. Jamster, you know, we in a fertile soil. If you drop a seed, put a banana tree there, just do to the tree there. It hatch out banana, it hatch out slips and start to grow. A gentleman came in Penny Farm, right, in St. Kitts here. Got 100 and something banana to plant, Jamster. And all of them die, all of them bun down, dead bun down. We call it dead down bun. None of them grow. Because of lack of rain. And the heat we got to face. And I believe that is something serious. We got to take warning. And I want to commend this King Socrates, because he always come constructive and come international. I most is now some of Calypso don't based on so much of the politics. It's based on the international war, what's going on out there in the world and affect us. And those two songs he sing, is really, really, really in time, and the ordinary man and woman should listen to. Because Israel talk about climate change, talking about different, like Calypso, contribute and make the contribution and everything, and all those athletes and things who make the contribution. I believe that is a good step in mind. Socrates is a great writer, and we got to give him credit. We got to give him some real credit. And people talking about age, but it seemed to me the more Socrates age, the more he come out and he sing more constructive and better. And these is the thing that we got to consider. And if young people only sit down and listen to what's going on in the world, we wouldn't be so ignorant and start to follow one another and do all kind of things. I hear people calling in and challenging the Bible, saying all kind of negative things about the Bible, But Jamster, I come up in the church. My father was a preacher. He preached in a church that first they call the gospel right in Boys Village here. And then he migrated to the Seventh Adventist church as the elder in Bastille, used to preach. And I grew up in the church. And I say I'm a Bible scholar. I know some of it. And I want to try to follow the Bible constructively and don't do like some people let the Bible mislead you. Nobody mislead you about the Bible. You understand? So, sometimes you say this to say that, right? This world where we're into right now, if man ain't consider the ways and try to live a brotherly life and an upward life towards one another, we'll never get nowhere. Because we are black people, and you could see some of our black people against one another. Black people setting up one another, making mockery after one another. Because maybe what situation you're in? Because you're poor, where you ain't got this or you ain't got that, they make a mockery of you. Some people try that with me now. Even calling in from the radio, telling me how kind of ignorance to say on the radio. But Jamster, I am a Christ child. I believe that there's a God above looking down on us. And nobody going to set me up to talk nothing ignorant about my country against nobody or whatever. What I see, and I could challenge constructive politically, I will do it. Because this is my country and we got to safeguard our country. Not who government in. So Jamster, I want to continue to do your program and do it the best of your ability. May God bless you and keep you.
Okay, thanks. Great. Same to you. Okay, that's Mr. P. Okay, it's what time is it? It's 1:03. So I think this would be a good time to get a break and hear from Hossfords, and then come back and take some more of your calls.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Get ready to transform your space with the Hossfords Building and Nevis Centers. Spruce it up big fresh paint and tile sale. It's your chance to give your home a fresh new look at a whopping 25% off store-wide on all paints and tile at Hossfords Building and Nevis Centers. But wait, there's more. With every purchase of Citizens Paints, you could win a free room paint over. Imagine walking into a freshly painted room completely on us. Looking for even more options? We've got you covered with fantastic deals on Sherwin-Williams and Penta Paints. Don't miss out on the chance to get premium quality paints at amazing prices. But hurry now to Hossfords Building and Nevis Center. This incredible offer is available for the entire months of November and December only. Terms and conditions apply, so be sure to visit us for all the details. So don't wait. Head on over to our store and take advantage of Hossfords Building and Nevis Center. Spruce it up big fresh paint and tile sale. Give your space the makeover it deserves and make this holiday season extra special.
And I'm back. It's 3 minutes after 1 o'clock. And Voices continues. I'll continue to take your calls right up until 1:30. So please call me and get it off your chest. Hear your views, your opinion your insights, even questions. So let's get to it. 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. So I await your calls. At the moment, we have no calls. I think that they went off to lunch. The folks there over on Church Street. I think they went off to lunch. I think after Masha finished, they decided to take lunch. So that will continue as expected. So we have it's December 18 tonight. We have the Globe Parade, I think, on the Carnival tip. We also have on the Christmas side, you have the St. George's, the annual St. George's Anglican Church Christmas concert that's happening. That starts at 7:30 tonight. That's a new time, and things are beginning to heat up for Carnival. So for all the people visiting for Carnival, and maybe trying to get away from the cold, especially if you live in those countries where there is snow on the ground at this time and the temperatures are considerably lower. Welcome to you. Here's hoping you enjoy your stay, and hope you enjoy Carnival and all that. So let's go to the phone lines. Voices, you're on the air.
Hello, John.
Hey, what's up?
Good afternoon.
Hey, what's up?
Blessed greetings in the name of Jesus Christ. He who saves his chosen elect sinners from their sins and from hell, and to the second person of the eternal Trinity, Jesus Christ, that is. Now, I would like to say during this Christmas season, I just like to remind people that the message of this season is that Jesus Christ came to seek and to save that which was lost. And he did it. He did not offer a possibility of doing it. He certainly did it. He did save and seek those who he came to die for, his people, his chosen elect sinners. And like I've said in the past, Easter only exists because of Christmas. Easter is the result of Christmas. And thank God for that. Because there was no Christmas, there would not have been any Easter. And thank God for both of them. And I would just like to say, thank God, thank Jesus Christ, who is the Lord God Almighty, the second person of the eternal Trinity. I would just like to thank him for sparing us from the storms, from the hurricanes, from the destructive earthquakes. Yes, we have had tremors, but he did not allow us to get the real thing. He prevented us from getting the real strong thing. And I thank Jesus Christ for that, protecting us from tsunamis and other destructive things that many around the world are experiencing. And I think it's because his grace and his mercy has not run out on us. But if we continue in our disobedience to his word, his grace and his mercy will run out, because there is a limit to such for people who are living in disobedience to his word. And we as a people are surely living in disobedience to the word of God. And that only brings on the judgment and the wrath of God upon us in his own time, which we are already experiencing to some small degree. But it will get worse and worse if we continue down this road of disobedience to his word. Only his word is the solution. And only his word has all of the answers to all of our issues in life, and human existence. But we are disobeying his word. As a people, we are disobeying his word to our peril, to our destruction, and to our ruin. And that is very, very sad and very deadly for us as a people. Of course, when his chosen ones die, those are saved by his blood. Those who are predestined for heaven. Of course, when they die, they will end up in heaven. And all who die without the blood of Jesus Christ covering them and saving them, when they die, they will eventually end up in hell for all eternity as they go to the place of torment and misery. As we read of in Luke 16, the parable of the rich man and the poor man. So, just like to tell people, turn to Jesus Christ. Like to tell the nation, turn to Jesus Christ. Obey the Bible. Biblically repent. And it's only then we can forever and ever lastingly enjoy all of these blessings that are mentioned in his word. Especially and most especially his spiritual blessings. All of them. Because when he saves you, he puts on you and he gives you all of his spiritual blessings according to Ephesians chapter 1. So I would just like to say this and remind people that all of this is what Christmas is about, which resulted in Easter. Both of them got together hand in hand and they are inseparable, as Easter is the result of Christmas. Thank you. God bless you and God bless you.
Okay, great. Okay, that's we just had a word there from that caller. Okay, so keep your calls coming, folks. Keep the calls coming. So just give me a call on any topic that you might wanna address. Okay, so what else is on your mind? Just let's get the calls going. And okay, here we have another call coming. Voices, you're on the air.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, what's up?
Who that? Voices Radio?
Yes, it is.
Okay, this is Jamster?
Yes, it is.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thanks to you.
And all the best for the new year when it comes.
Yeah, same to you.
And I hope that WINNFM would understand that when me and BJ used to be in there on Saturday afternoons, you know that too. The former manager, Mr. Bacchus, one day he come in there by me and BJ and he said, man, Culture, you need your own show, man. You need your own show. I said, okay, I'm going to work on that, man. I'm going to work on that. And we laugh. And when I leave the station and I was coming home in the bus, I asked the man, said, boy, let me tell you something. You know what you and BJ do to WINNFM? Your ratings so high that when playing off a WINNFM rating. So well, that's my duty is to make things better. But Jamster, before the hurricane where we had here come, the little piece of hurricane that diverted from us, we had a little bit of rain, and WINNFM over the side, this northeast of St. Kitts, it just fade away.
Yes.
And up to now, it's not being heard over here. And I feel happy about it because there's a lot of programs on WINNFM I don't listen to, but because I can't hear it, I don't know what is going on. So I call to wish you all the best and all the good workers in WINNFM. Season greetings and all the best for the new year.
Same
Well,
to
I'm on the
you.
year. I just letting the managers and the owners know, please do something to improve WINNFM around the whole island.
It's being worked on right now, actually.
Oh, it's working out.
It's being worked on, yeah. It's not
Okay,
for,
I hope we get
not
you because
for-
this is too long, man.
Yeah, not for want of actioning. No, it's being worked on as we speak. So that should be addressed in due time. So yeah,
In who time?
in due time that will be addressed.
In the future?
In the future,
You sing in the Calypso in recitation in due time?
Okay.
Okay.
You're killing me. Okay, cool. All right, that's culture.
Yes,
Doing his
right.
thing. Okay, great. Okay, culture.
Yeah,
And
bless up
all
to
the
everyone.
all the best for this season. Happy Carnival, Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
and all that
Be
stuff.
careful what you say,
Yeah, I guess I
Yeah,
should.
where you just tell me, you ain't gonna get nobody else none the best.
Well, no, I'm talking to you now, so I'm telling you now
Yeah.
because I might not get to talk to you before Monday.
Okay, but you got to pinch up the best, man. You can't give me all. You got to give some people some.
No, but I mean, many people can have the best, because best would be different for different people. The best time for you could be one thing, and the best time for somebody else would be something
Okay.
else. You know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if you can see me on the street, eh? Because last Christmas I was in town, and as soon as I reached town, he had 16 sexy chicken chasing me through town. And I had to run out the town and come back home, so I ain't going back.
Culture is something else.
I don't want a chicken get knocked down this time again.
Culture, you need to behave. Okay.
Yeah, all the best.
Yeah, all the best to you too. Okay, great.
Okay, then.
Yeah,
Let's
okay,
go.
I can take a
Right.
break.
Found the South 98.9.
Here are your Horsford Value Mart IGA special.
Running December 14th to the 27th.
The more you shop, the more you save.
In December, get the double points when you shop at Value Mart.
Now, our Value Club Christmas specials. Pringles chips, just $9.99. Pearl Pancake Mix, $12.49. Nestle Splash, $9.99. Dole Food Falls, $14.99. Post Great Grains cereals, $18.99. Chaborni Greek yogurt, $5.69. And now, our very low weekly
value deals. Essential everyday apple juice, $6.99. Essential everyday party and dry roasted peanuts, $12.99. IGN Essential everyday flour, $9.99. IGN Essential everyday cereals, $9.99. Handy for roaster pans, $5.99. Dial Software, $11.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart for this Christmas and get double points for more rewards today.
En la temporada de Navidad continuamos con las recompensas y los puntos dobles. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en
Value Mart!
Are you ready to turn transactions into treasures? It's time to unlock the triple transformation transaction treasures at Holtzman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store St. Kitts. With every hire purchase, not only do you get quality furniture, but you also get triple cash back for free groceries. That's right, triple your saving, triple your transformation. Imagine a home beautifully furnished and a pantry stocked to the brim, all in one go. Our expert staff is standing by, ready to guide you to the pieces that will make your dream home a reality. Hospital Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store St. Kitts, where quality meets affordability. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Visit our showrooms today and start your journey from transactions to treasures. Hospital Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store St. Kitts, transforming home one transaction at a time. Visit us today and experience the triple transformation transaction treasures.
And we go, okay, I think I lost that call. That person was calling during the commercial break. I don't know where they do that at, but please return. You can call back, but I don't understand why people would be calling during the commercial break. I'm here talking and, talking, no calls, and then during the commercial break, they're calling. I don't understand it, but it's all good, all love. Let's go back. Voices, you're on the air.
Good day, sir. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay.
Okay. Let me touch a little on the raise that the government give. It is good, eh? Everybody wants to raise. But I hope that we as a people understand that sometimes you get a raise of 8, 10, 20%. And at the end of the day, you still haven't seen it. The reason why, I am not an economist, I'm not an accountant, but This is what we call uncommon sense, because the common sense is the foolish thing that we deal with every day. Rams, Hosford, who are the two biggest importers of dry and canned goods in this country, they go out and they buy the stuff from different vendors. One vendor might sell rams at 20 cents. The other vendor might sell Hosford at 25 cents. They have to give their staff an increase because the government decided that everyone need an increase. But with an increase, we have to look out for the price of goods rising, because Hosford and Rams is not going to take that loss from their millions. So what they are going to do is every can of milk going to add on 50 cents on top of it. Every tin of sardine going to have on 30 cents on top of it. Every tin of beef going to have on 75 cents on top of it. So it all boils down that although you get an increase, your paycheck is going to give you less than what you were getting, because the merchants are going to take up their price to cover whatsoever they have to pay out. And it's going to be better for them because they're going to make a bigger profit. Now, we speak of price control, and someone is saying it's hard for government to have price control. Like I say, I am not an economist, I am not an accountant. Rams might have a tin of carnation milk for 75 cents. Hosford might have it for 65 cents. That is because Hosford might have paid 10 cents for their milk from their supplier. Rams might have paid 15 cents for their milk. So you expect one to be a little higher than one. But what about, can the government, through the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, negotiate with the government so that they put on a certain percentage on their markup? Because if it may sound foolish, but if the government said, look, you know, it's like, I love you 75% on the markup of whatsoever you brings in, it means that even though Rams bring in their milk and their milk is more expensive, and Hosford, their markup would be 75 cents. So nobody could raise the prices and put on 200% markup and then cause inflation. That is how I look at it. All I'm saying to folks is that we have to be careful how we spend. And if you want to do the math, go to your shop next week. Buy a tin of sardine, a tin of milk, a pack of coffee, and distribute it to somebody. You may not want it, but distribute it to an old person. And then go back in February, buy the same item, and match the prices. Because it's back then in February, March, April, we're going to see a spike in prices raising in the supermarket. Have a nice day.
Okay.
I'm not an accountant.
Yeah.
I'm not a financial controller.
Yeah, it's inevitable. That's how it works.
Thanks a lot.
Yes, everything is connected to everything else. So yeah, that caller is right. Because what happens is, and then you consider the fact that yes, the minimum wage, the employers are going to pass on. They're going to have to pass on the additional cost to us, because that means that goods and services will have to go up a little bit, probably, to take into consideration the fact that they now have to spend more to pay their staff and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's how it works. No way around it. That is how it works. So it's 1:23. I got 7 minutes left on the show. So anyone want to call and let us hear what's on your mind. Yeah, we want to hear that. So everyone everyone can give me a call. I have what, like I said, I have 6 minutes left now at this point. So give me a call and let's hear what's on your mind. I think that everyone. I don't think anyone can really be dissatisfied with what was announced last week. You know, everyone was expecting double salary and all that. But let's take this call. Caller, go right ahead.
Jamster,
Hey, what's up?
I want to agree with the caller because up to this morning, where that caller speak about just now, someone was in a conversation with him. Because he was telling me, boy, if I one thing I'm glad for, we get a raise. I said, we get a raise, you know, but brother, we got to consider how we spend the money too. The people ain't gonna consider how they spend the money because things going up. And we get a raise, sometimes things go up so rampant. It don't even look like we get a raise. How would the thing them going up so it escalate in the supermarket and in the stores and in different places? So I tell him we still got to be careful how we spend. You understand? I tell him getting a raise not the problem, you know. The cost of living is the problem. You understand? Because getting a raise, the supermarket, the store vendors, them, the business places, them, they got to hire people and they got to pay them. You know? And we got to pay for that. We the consumer got to pay for that. So I was just telling them that, you know? And I got to hear about the culture voice because about 3 weeks ago, he talk and he tell me that asked me to stop calling from the morning program with you all Island Tea. He tell me that he can't get with FM, he can't listen nothing. So I got to hear his voice and I don't know if he really hear it from the phone or whatsoever. But I hear him complaining about it all the time. So I got to hear his voice. So Jamster, people only got to do what they got to do. Because he ain't gonna be the world, he ain't gonna be the better now. And if man not try to manage the little change where they get, it's only gonna be worse for them. Government gonna can't help all the time. And if the private sector ain't functioning and people got to laugh people because of the minimum wage gone up and all these things, we got to watch. So let me just control ourselves. And I was just trying to tell the financial man, where the honest man, you know, that I was trying to get back into Carl, you know, tell him that. I believe that the more business, small business, and the more entrepreneur we got in the country, it's better for the private sector, it's better for the government. Because look at this step. From the step to the step. Government still got to pay those people money. And they're working for somebody. And some of these business fail and they got people working with them. And the business still fail. So people got to keep on the head and do what they got to do. Because things out there getting dreadful. Look, you see them what? You see them something rising up? Little Venezuela and going over so close us. Venezuela that supply with the petrochemical oil and all those things. And it look like they want to go cause land disturbance now. And if all of that got to happen, he only gonna pressure us down here. Because oil gonna cost more money. We might go all the way oil from somewhere else. Okay then, Jamster.
Okay, great.
All the best for the season.
Yeah, same to you. Okay, great. Yeah, okay. So that was Mr. P weighing in once again. And we are heading up to the end of Voices time. So if you guys want to squeeze in a call, please give me a call and let's hear it. All right. Okay, so it's 1:28. Looks like I'm gonna have my last call now. Caller, go right ahead.
Yes, so good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm on the last train. I'm the one on the last train, yeah, taking you home. Yeah, to everybody all around the world, may we enjoy this Christmas what's coming And me, everything ain't gonna go good with you, but, you know, me some girl gotta make it out the quarter, and some weren't. So, the price thing, yeah. You know, I don't say when the money going on, the price still gonna go up high. So, you gotta expect that. So there's nothing you can do. You ever notice years ago when they give you a raise, supposed to get the money go up. The things them go up double.
Yeah.
So we can drink bush tea next year where we serve only the babies that's gonna get.
Yes, that's what happens. Yeah.
And so on here, but I mean we're gonna serve for because they wanted the milk, you know, but the older people them in here 30, 35, 40, they could drink bush. We got a lot of important bush here to make you strong and healthy.
Okay.
Coming from the bush lady Bernice. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year when it comes. May everybody enjoy themselves. Lord knows gun, pow, nothing up 4th Street. May we enjoy the day, the 25th next week when it comes. And may we work out what we want for 2024. A lot of patch up. Mr. Politics, you got to change your mind for your race from 2024, you know.
Okay.
You want to be Christian and you want to be none. You got to know which way you're heading. You're very playful. Somebody don't say your tongue will stick up in your mouth.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
Yes.
That's
I know you people are godly, but
okay,
you know
it's
you can't
1:30.
praise God today. And then tomorrow you'll be in a devil. We got to be one thing going. Be straight.
Okay. All right. Bye. Okay, that's gonna do it for voices. It's 1:30. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So I'm gonna be we're gonna be back tomorrow for Island Tea at 8 o'clock. This is Jams. I want to make sure I automate some music here for you guys, some carnival and even some Christmas music, right up until 6 o'clock. So keep tuned in to Win FM, and we'll keep you entertained and informed. So that's it for voices. I'm signing off. This is Jams saying peace, love, and fat beats.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
My granny always said prevention is better than cure. I remember this every time I think of ransomware and my business. Ransomware is a form of malware that provides criminals with the ability to lock a computer from a remote location and then display a pop-up window informing the user that it will not be unlocked until a sum of money is paid. Don't be held at ransom. Have effective and updated internet security software and firewall running before going online. Never reply to or click on links in spam emails from companies or individuals you do not know. Remember, when it comes to ransomware, prevention is better than cure. Stop ransomware. Visit getsafeonline.kn to find out more.
The future is unknown. Protect your life, your family, and your valuables from unforeseen circumstances. Let National Caribbean Insurance give you the peace of mind that you so deserve. At NCI, we offer a suite of affordable insurance plans that can be tailored to ease your financial burden. We aim to deliver exceptional products to satisfy all your insurance needs. Whether life, health, motor, or property insurance, NCI has the right solution for you. Our friendly and knowledgeable sales